And hate is so clouding. You know what I'm saying? And it's stop. So I hated my father, right? I hated him for a long period in my life because what I went through, what we went through, me and my mother and my sister, from nothing. You know what I'm saying? Living in cars, whatever, right? Being outside, 5, 6 years old, and the similar story. I'm gonna come get you, and I'm sitting outside, and it's raining and snowing on me, all types of shit, and I refuse to go inside. All of those things made me hate him as a person, right? Because to me, I was like, I couldn't compute your reasoning why, and especially with your own child, right?
It seems intentional.
Yeah, and it is intentional to a degree, right? Um, and I acted on that hatred for him with everybody else. I had that chip on my shoulder for a long time, and I was a violent individual. I was an irritable individual. I was a ticking time bomb for every situation. Um, and then to add to it, I watched the toll it took on my mother, who I cared the most for. Her breaking down, crying because she can't physically maintain 3 jobs and go to school and have 2 kids, and trying to pick up the slack. So all of those experiences made me hate him. And it just literally took a toll on my life. And it took me till I was about 17 years old or 18 years old to really find out what forgiveness was. And it and to think about it, when you think, like, when I say hatred, like I said to Marie, I understand what it feels like to hate somebody because I tried to harm him a few times. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I was 17 years old, and he just wanted to make things right for the first time really ever. And he said, I don't care, you could come, and I'll come, and if he punches me, if he harms me, I'm gonna just take it because I deserve it. That's what he said. And for me, it was like, at that point, and I told him, I was like, well, tell him I'm on my way. And that was my intention. I'm going to hurt this man. Right. And I really could beat up my father. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but once he didn't show up as usual. And
when he put it out there for you to come beat him up?
Yeah, so he can kind of just sever. And he didn't show up as usual, but I didn't have any expectations or any other expectations. He's been dodging my whole life. Um, But at that moment is when I realized, I'm like, I was at my grandmother's house. I love my grandmother to death. I was in a peaceful state. And because he called and he said he wanted to take this on, and I can unleash all my rage on him, I left a peaceful state for a chaotic state. And that's when I realized how controlling my hatred was. You know? And so at that point in time, I really made a conscious decision. I was like, I have to figure out how to let it go. Um, but I do think, and you can ask, like, does it stem from love? No, because I don't think I really ever fully loved my dad. He wasn't there enough for me to love my dad. You get me?
Well, could it still be love in that there was an expectation?
I think it goes back to it says passed down from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is just passed down from society. Society has told me that my father is supposed to be there. So I put
Right.
all those expectations
Right.
that would, I mean, and rightfully so, they should, right? But I took those expectations and I installed it into him. But as a person, I can't love you as a person because society tells me you're my blood, you're my father, you're my sister, my mother, or whoever. I have to love you as a person because that's who I love as a person. You know what I'm saying? So when you ask me, or if I ask myself, did my hatred stem from love? No, I think my hatred stemmed from expectations and then the outcomes of those expectations not
Right.
being met. And then those trials and tribulations that I endured and my mother and my family endured along the way. But that's what I think about the thin line between love and hate.
You think you can still appreciate a person and hate them?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate, I actually I read this before. Um, I don't know if it was Dwayne Dwyer or The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, but one of these people had said, which was a monumental moment in my life, it was able for me to iterate my situation and my feelings. And that situation was, if you learn to embrace everything as if you ask for it, you'll free yourself from the situation. So it sounds crazy, but in my mind, the way I computed it was I embraced my father not being there. I embraced my struggles. I embraced my mom breaking down. I embraced all of these things as if I asked for it. And that helped me align and find that silver lining in the cloud of what I gained from all those things. I gained an undescribable strength um, that nothing in life could ever teach me. You know, I gained a level of perseverance. I gained so many great things from going through such a dark space that I'm appreciative. And in retrospect, I've learned more from him not being there than I would have ever learned from him being there. You know, but that takes a tremendous amount of emotional maturity and self
Growth.
awareness. Yeah, and a lot of people struggle with that when they're having parent issues for a long duration in their life. I'm fortunate to have feel like I've conquered that before I was 20. You know, um, which is I think a lot of the reasons why I'm here today. You know, doing what we do. You know.
I definitely hate my stepfather. It's because as a child, you always saying, "You're not my father. Who are you telling me what to do?" So he used to discipline me, give me spankings, or then the spankings became to like fights, and it's just like, "You're not my father. Why are you talking to me like that?" Or who are you to? I felt like at a point my mother was kind of brainwashed for love, so I kind of drifted away from my mother, and it was like, "You love this man more than me." So I hated that he was in my life, and why isn't me and my mother not closer? Why are you allowed to give me whoopings? Why are you involved with going to parent teacher conference? Why are you involved with making decisions on how my mother raised me? And I couldn't stand that about him. And then when he had my other two little brothers, they never got spanking. So I'm like, yo, how I get my butt beat, but they nothing happens to them. And I for a long time I could not stand him. And but as I grew up, I realized like when you're the first child, you're their parents' training child. And so I
Damn.
was able I was able to understand, but then I just had to learn like just forgive them. Like I'm 39 right now, and I still feel like a 21-year-old. So when they had me at 12 years old, when I was 12 and they was 30, they're still kids. It's me at this age. So I learned to forgive. I didn't forget now, but there's no point in hating you. That you did the best that you can do. You loved me. I love you. But that's the only person I really could think of hating. I can't even hate my father. When I came out and told him I was gay, he went on Facebook. He went on everything, and just like my son's a homo, and just like trash me. And as much as I want to hate him, I know he doesn't know any better, and I believe in God, and I know God is handling him in His own way. But yeah, I think with hate, that's why I say I think hate is short term because you'll learn how to forgive eventually.
If
Not
you want
everybody.
to, right?
If
Because
you want.
Yeah.
you want to have to, you want to remove it from you.
Yeah,
You don't want to deal with. Is that what you're saying? Like you don't want to deal with the burden of the hate.
yeah. I don't.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
It's
if
heavy.
you actually really hate somebody, like that's real heavy on you.
It's active.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
So
daily.
you got to put
It is
into it every
daily.
single day.
You feed it. I feel like you guys, there are a lot of people walking around with just bitter energy, and they have no problem feeding their hate monster. Like they feed it, and they're like, "Hi, here's your food for today. This is who we gonna hate."
3-course meal.
You know what I mean? I can't stand her. Like they are like that. Actually becomes part of their identity.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I've seen it because there's so many, and this is on a smaller spectrum, but I see so many people follow us, follow me, and they're never saying anything good. so, I'm like, if you really don't like something, but you follow it, you are feeding your hate monster.
Yeah.
And it's bad because we will really give you all you can eat. It's buffet. it's a buffet. It's a buffet out here. But not it, but the hate is heavy. And you know what's crazy about when you hate somebody? It's addicting.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is addicting. And it's you like for you to hate somebody is the same way when you love somebody and that person that you love and every time you see him you get butterflies and when you see him, you just want to hug him and kiss him, and you just want to kiss him all over and just be as affectionate as you can. Like you wish you could sleep inside their shirt, right?
Yeah.
But
With them in it.
with them in it, right? But when you hate, it's that same amount of addiction. It's that same amount of obsessiveness. You know, like
Yeah, you can't stop talking about
I can't
things.
stop thinking about it. I like, and anything that is remotely close to that situation that will be tied in to make it the situation that I hate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's how addicting it is. You don't even understand that you're really reeling yourself in every single time, every single day. As soon as you wake up, somebody sounds like, and this is the worst part of hate. When when you become so obsessive and addicted to your hate, anything that moves, looks, sounds like the thing that you hate that too. So there's a lot of people who had issues with a loved one, whether it be your parent or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and somebody just looks like them.
Like their child.
And you know, and I was gonna get to that because there's a lot of parents who have, well, typically it would be mothers that have sons that resemble the father and even act like the father that they
I
hate,
know a mother like that.
and they treat that child terribly because they hate the father, and and the kid is a reminder of that man. And it's unfortunate because that's how addictive hate can be, or controlling.
Dang, that's crazy.
You know what I mean? I've seen it.
So I have a question for you guys. Does anyone here have an ex that they hate?
No, I love all my exes. They're great people. There are a couple of you that are questionable, but but you were great to me.
I don't think I have an ex that I hate. Recently, you know,
One of you did some fucked up shit.
he did. Like recently, I got out of a situation, and I was on the podcast just trolling him and just saying how he's this and how he's that, right?
You said his
And-
name on the show?
So I gave him a nickname.
Oh, okay.
What was the nickname?
We'll call him Chad.
Chad, please, Chad.
Oh, girl.
But what's the nickname that you use?
I call.
You already said it.
It's
now.
another troll. Go
Let me
ahead.
tell you why. Because
What's the name?
secretly, I was trolling him for months on the podcast, but then just got back in the relationship. So,
Oh.
but that's why I'm like,
wow.
Let's leave that alone.
But I did call him Pastor Tourist because he's a tourist, but I call him a pastor because all he did was scream and ask for money. So,
Yo, what?
but I was mad, and I didn't hate him at the moment, but I was just mad. But I don't really have any hate towards any ex because I once loved you. I just don't really F with you especially because I know how much of a good person I am. I know how good I love. I know what I bring to the table. I know I'm not perfect. I'm a little, dramatic sometimes. But I don't like when I give you an experience, and I feel like that's what I do in all my relationships. I give an experience that you never had before. When I give you experience and you bring it to someone else, and then you bring it to your next relationship, and it's like, why you bring it to the next relationship and you couldn't even do it for this relationship? Like when I told you, like, oh, I want you to pick up the tab more. You're not doing that, but then you're in your next relationship, you're picking up the tab more. It's like, or I want to go on more trips. I'm always on a trip. I would like you to or plan something for us. But then I see you did something for Valentine's Day with your new partner. It's just like, where was that energy for me? So I don't hate you for that, but it's like I have a little resentment towards you for that for sure.
Are you a giver? Maybe you're a giver.
It sounds like
Yeah, I'm a giver, but that's overwhelming. Like because I'm so busy now, I want someone to help meet me halfway because I have so much on my plate. I work my regular job. I do content creating, so it's just then now I want somebody to make me come home and feel relaxed and comfortable. But sometimes people just be sucking out of you because I give a lot, like a lot. And then when something in my head clicks and say, all right, you're done. Like I had one of my ex, like I found out I was going through his phone, he was talking to somebody, and I bought him tickets to see Beyonce at Coachella.
Ooh.
And the week before the trip, I gave it to another friend. I gave it to a friend because you did not deserve that.
I mean, I do know, and I believe, and I agree that you can hate someone that you love for whatever reason that they have done to you that you feel is justifiable for that feeling. But can you hate somebody that you don't love? can you truly pour out that amount of energy and emotion into somebody into somebody that you have never loved or even have never even met?
I think that you don't have to have love for someone to hate them. Um, because I feel like there could be someone that does you dirty for like no reason. Like, say someone is just so against you. Like, say you guys are going for the same job, you guys are competing, and they're just doing everything that they can to make sure you don't get this job. You guys don't really know each other from a hole in the wall. You guys are just after the same thing, and they just keep doing shit to shit on you, doing shit to shit on you, and you just can't take it. You hate this person. Like, they're just getting so much in your way, but you guys don't have any like emotional connection to each other. I actually do have like 4 reasons that someone can feel hatred for you. So I'm going to read out those 4 reasons. One is feeling envious, wanting what the other person has. They may consider it unfair that someone has what they lack. This is very true. 2, have contempt for another person or believe them to be inferior.
Mm.
3, learn hatred from parents, their community, or other social groups. That's also very true. And 4 is they're humiliated or mistreated by another person.
How does that
That's
play
fair.
in relationships though? Why do we find that there's always some, not always, but there's like a lot of animosities when you have exes, especially sometimes when you have a baby mother? Like, I hate her. Like, where does that come from? How did you have a child? Once upon a time, you loved this person, and now you hate each other?
Well, I feel like with a baby mother situation, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? I feel like I feel like we all know the bitter baby mama
Yeah.
scenario. If you're not in a relationship with each other anymore, like the dynamic changes. When you guys were in a relationship, of course it was all like love. You guys had love for each other. You guys thought you were going somewhere. You guys having a kid together. But now that you guys aren't in a relationship, maybe one person has, still has feelings for the other, and seeing them move on is kind of hurtful. Maybe that's the envy that that they that they see. Maybe the father moves on with a different woman. Sometimes a baby mother is not very accepting of that. Like, I don't want my kids around no new person, or that kind
That's
of
all
stuff.
just hatred. They don't care. They just hating. What do you think, Billy?
Like,
Yeah, they be
I think
hating.
hate's such a strong word. So as much as I may say I hate this person, I'm trying to think like, who do I really hate and who do I really hate? And I don't want to give anybody that energy out of me. They don't deserve that energy. So even like when I knew this was a topic, I'm like, who do I really hate? And I wanted to hate somebody, but I'm like, they don't deserve that from me, because that means I'm taking away from myself to give to them. And when you're disappointed at like you're in the relationships or with your parents, again, like you say, oh, I can't stand my mother, I hate my mother, but that's just an expression. But to really hate somebody, I think you have to mess with my mental. So when I say I hate somebody, it will be short term, because long term, it has nothing to do, like, you're not worth it. Short term, that's how I feel. I'm reacting off emotion, and I'm very impulsive. So I'm going to say anything, and as a true Virgo, we say things that cut you, and we slice you real hard. But I don't mean it like that. I just hate you in the moment. But
Not that I don't mean it.
Yeah.
sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't.
But I said it.
I said what I said.
I think like sometimes I've caught myself doing this in my life at points in my life, and sometimes I think we or people hate a situation, and it's just the fact that that person just so happens to be a part of that situation, and we tie in that person with the situation that we hate, and we align them to be the same thing, and they're really not. There's some people who just hate the fact that they get treated as such, whether it be looked at in whatever way, and that person just so happens to be the person doing it. They don't technically hate that person. They hate what the person is doing. They hate what the person is representing, or hates what the person is reminding them of the things that they don't like. And I think that happens a lot when we talk about envy. you don't necessarily hate that person who's posting on the boats and posting in the jets, or has the LV shoes and whatever. You don't necessarily hate that person. You just hate the situation that you're in, and you're tying in that person, to that situation for whatever reason. Maybe you think you're better than them, but you're really not. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe
Like,
you think you're more deserving.
oh,
of
you're more
what
deserving. And that's
they
the thing.
have.
And oh, I'm so glad you said that, because I can never fathom when people have enviness because of what they feel they deserve. Because what you deserve versus what you earn is big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think because they do so much, they deserve the outcome that he or she has. But yet you didn't earn it because you didn't do the proper things. Now, I'm not saying this is all the time. There are some times where it's, a messed
Many
up situations,
times.
right? But to hate somebody because of that, or hate, people because of that, is crazy.